right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Team Lead Talks podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Becker out of Alexandria, Virginia. On today's episode, I have Megan Walters, who is the founder and team lead of the Walters team in Columbia, Missouri. Welcome to the show, Megan. Good to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, Megan, let's just jump right into this. You know, I like to do short and kind of to the point episodes here on our podcast, but high level, who's Megan? What does the Walters team do down in Missouri there?
Yeah, that's always a hard question. Who's Megan? I don't know.
Who are you, Megan? Who are you?
Such a deep question. Yeah, no.
Really say wise, Megan. That's
what. No, so we have been doing real estate. I started this company about 10 years ago here in Columbia, Missouri, right out of college. Today, we've grown to one of the top producing real estate teams in the mid-Missouri area. We've got a team. We actually just brought on somebody else. So what are we at? We're at like 6 now.
Awesome.
But yeah, we help pretty much everything from first-time home buyers to luxury. I also do a ton of investment and development myself with my husband. So that's a whole other kind of side of the business. But yeah, no, we've kind of just immersed ourselves in all things real estate at this point.
Very cool. I love that. So you mentioned you have like 6 people on the team. Can you walk us through like the structure and the org that, you know, the makeup of that?
Yeah. So there's my husband and I, we both are licensed. He doesn't really do a lot of he does his own deals, buys crappy houses kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's why he's got his own license. But so you've got us. Then I have got 2 full-time agents. We have a transaction coordinator and then a marketing manager who also doubles as our videographer and photographer.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I love lean teams like this where it's not like, you know, I talk to people who have 5 to 10 people, then like 50, 60 people. And I, at one point, had a large team and I just loved the new lean models, especially with the advent of like AI. I'm not sure if you're using it or not. That's probably a topic of an entire separate episode here. But so you have 6 people and you're one of the top producing teams down in Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that. So how, with 6 people, are you one of the top teams down there? Where like if you go on Facebook, if you talk to agents in your area or in your market, everyone's like, leads. Where's the next lead coming from? Like, how are you able to do that with such a lean team?
Yeah. So truthfully, day one, I started building all of our systems and our CRM. Like the second I got in real estate, it was my first investment and it's still the CRM I use today. And so I have grown with it and it's kind of grown with me. And so before I even hired anybody, by myself, I was probably managing about 120 transactions, just me. Through the CRM, being able to just having all the systems, everything at a click at a button. Nice. And then as we grew the team, the CRM grew with it, which was really nice and why I picked that one from day one.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything is just super type A and organized.
I love that.
Through that. Yes, which allows for that scalability where none of us are like burnt out and we're able to do a lot more than the average agent because of everything that we've just spent years and years of building in the background.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to leads, I don't pay for leads, truthfully. And so we just organically through social media, just through our brand and just years of just kind of pushing that consistency, it just kind of comes to our website. It comes through our social media. And then we disperse from there. But I used to buy leads. I did used to have a larger team once upon a time and learned that that wasn't for me. And that's why we are so small. And so we did used to buy leads, but back then, it really dove into like me having to micromanage.
Yeah.
And I did not like that. And no one wants to be micromanaged by me.
Right.
So we cut that and we just created a structure to where, you know, we do give out leads that come to the team, but our agents are definitely rewarded for bringing their own in. Mm-hmm. And then that way they don't have me breathing over their shoulder being, hey, we just spent $5,000 on Zillow. Where are all these, like, what's happening here? Because I'm pulling my hair out stressed. No one likes me following up with them on that.
Right.
And so that's just more aligned with the personality of our team and just how we work. I know some people really thrive in that area. It stressed me more than brought me any kind of joy to run it that way.
So just to be clear, you're not doing any outbound paid marketing, purchasing of leads whatsoever. This is all organic to your website from social media efforts, from Sphere, etc.
Yeah, so we have like our Google business. We've got like social media ads per se, but no, like when it comes to actually purchasing like leads, no, we more our ads are more based off of building our brand
Very cool.
and any of that run. But yeah, no, we don't pay Zillow or any referral based kind of stuff.
Awesome. Let's go back to something that really piqued my interest because I'm also like type A OCD systems and processes type of person. You mentioned like when you first got your start, you had a CRM and you spent a considerable amount of time, investment, blood, sweat, and tears type of thing, getting it down to like this is how you do stuff. How efficient and effective does that make you today, and how great is it when you do bring on a new team member to like plug them into an engine that's already, rocking and rolling?
It made it so much easier. So we recently brought on a new gal, and it's the first time I've trained somebody probably in almost 3 years.
Yeah.
And in that process, though, I also hired a transaction coordinator who took majority of that work. And so when her and I sat down to train, it took me like in 2 hours, maybe max. And then I was like, crap, that's it.
Yeah. Like, what else do I do? And you're like, no, that's what you do. That's
That was it. And that was actually like, I mean, I know I've been like building that system for like 10 years, but that was the first time where I was like, wow, that was really nice.
yeah.
Because all the times before that, before I had the transaction coordinator and before I had a few more systems built out, it was extensive week-long training.
Yeah.
And I was exhausted. I didn't want to do it again. Like they were probably exhausted. And so now it definitely has opened the door that if I get the bug to grow it again, I'm like,
It
it
makes it a
might.
little bit easier to make that decision. Megan, you're giving me PTSD because I remember when I was in operations running the team and I brought like you on, for example, not only did it take a week or two to train you, but it was also like a week or two or three or four just getting the stuff together to give to you. And then it like you would come in and it was like, I just learned how to do like 1,000 different things. Like, what in the world do I even focus on? So, kind
Right.
of like you, I also spent 11, 12, 13, still never ending, right? Putting together, like, okay, you're coming on the team. Like, here's how you set an appointment. It's the only way to do it. Here's how you submit a listing agreement. So it sounds like you and I are very on the same page about like not making it overly complicated. And in my opinion, I'd love to hear what you think, but like I think routine and boring is like the type of business that everyone should be shooting for. Is
Yep.
that kind of like you seem to be very maybe a little OCD yourself? I'm not sure, but is that what you were like ultimately shooting for? That was your goal?
Yep, just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. It works. It's built us this far. Just copy and paste it and not try and like, yeah, completely, especially within the team. And then it's also just coherent. So like regardless if you work with me or if you work with Jazz or Jill, you're getting like the same thing. That's super important for me within the team. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
like to say doing the same repeatable, predictable, boring thing over and over is how you truly grow and scale and with the lean team for sure. But what does that also do to like your profit margins as well and your time and your stress level?
Yeah, no, it's huge. It was very eye-opening, yeah, bringing her on and seeing just how much easier I've been able to make it on, I think myself and everyone else.
Yeah, yeah. So, Megan, it's clear that you have your systems and your processes down, but like any business in America, especially in real estate, like I'm sure you run into your share of problems here. What's like a current problem that you're seeing down in Missouri right now, and like what are you doing to work through it?
Yeah, so it's not to bash other agents, so I'm gonna like start with that.
Okay, good
But
disclaimer.
full disclaimer, everyone starts somewhere, including myself once upon a time. But an actual problem, and I even had a call with our local board about this yesterday, is new agents coming in untrained and
Mm,
causing a lot of issues. And so, just like example, like, so I'm a really list heavy agent. I don't take on a lot of buyers anymore. That's just like our bread and butter. Well, we've had a lot of occurrences here recently where newer agents, I think, are getting excited about just the thought of submitting an offer versus truly vetting that buyer and having like abrasive, hard conversations with people. So
yeah.
then they go to submit, and then the contract and the transaction, in my opinion, is borderline just negligent because that person probably never was going to actually close. And if you probably asked certain questions
Yeah.
or vetted them better, it would have been very clear for maybe an experienced agent or like a mentor watching over that
Right.
agent to tell him, hey, red flag, red flag, red flag. And I mean, through that, when you're putting houses under contract with sellers, I mean, it's affecting their lives. They're getting movers. We had one just 2 days ago. She submitted an offer, told me they were super, super excited. Within 10 minutes, rescinded it saying, oh, well, maybe not. I don't know. And I'm like,
Yeah. You
you
don't
don't
do that.
submit offers and then rescind it. Well, then she did it like two more times. And I'm like, who's training you? Like, I mean, just
That's nuts. Yeah.
like you try and be a very respectful and not be that old crotchety realtor, but you start
Yeah.
getting to the point of like, wow. And so we've had that, at least in our local market, a little bit more than I'd like to admit, to where it's actually the first thing when you ask me that question that comes to my mind is essentially a lot of people getting in this industry and not having a good mentor or training program that's
Yeah.
teaching them, this is legal contracts. This isn't, I don't know, this isn't just something to take lightly. And they're just kind of, yeah,
Yeah,
not
I feel like what you said also, like the seller gets excited, you're representing the seller, and then it's almost like, I mean, this is true with any transaction as like the listing agent, but like you're almost having to do like double and triple work with this
Mhm.
newbie agent. But at the end of the day, Megan, it's just going to be like for us, it might be like this person keeps submitting offers and rescinding them. Like, I'm not going to take him or her serious anymore. And I'm going to call him or her and tell them
Yeah.
like, hey, you're wasting your time. Like, you need to get some training before you like screw
I
this
have
up.
had to say that to two agents this week. Within the past 7 days, I've had to call them and be like, I'm not trying to be that person. I'm not trying to come off a certain way, but like, just so you're aware, that is like what now we perceive your business to be and how you
Yeah.
handle business, not your
Yeah.
buyer, you. And that's going to really hurt your long term career with other agents if I'm not the only person you're doing this to.
Yeah.
And they
Sure, they're
take
doing it to other people too. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, no, that makes sense. So like they're receptive. You can just tell that maybe where they're holding their license, like they're just not getting that.
Yeah.
And so that's something that we've seen here. And it might just because of the town that we're in. We're in a college town, so it's maybe younger population. I don't know. But
Right.
yeah, there'll be some conversations that are kind of coming up at our board here soon.
Yeah. Well, it's good that they have Megan Walters to tell them what time it is when they do submit that to
I
you.
really
So,
hate being that person.
I know, but you need to. I mean, you're respectful of them. You're not like degrading them, but you're just trying to be helpful. And they need to know that anyways, because Megan, the writing is on the wall if they don't even know how to submit the offer correctly or in a manner that's like truly their intentions are to close. Like imagine going through inspections or addendums or any changes to the contract whatsoever. You're going to be
Yeah.
holding their hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been interesting.
Yeah. 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 So you're working that. Is that like a new thing that's popped up recently? Or like, is that few and far between for you guys down there?
It cut out just a little bit. I'm sorry. What was the
I was just
question?
saying, is that like happening all the time to you now? Or is that kind of few and far between? You just have to be a little bit more aware of that potential.
Yeah, I wouldn't say every time. I mean, I think out of all the transactions we've got running right now, we don't have any going with an agent like that. But I would say within the past month, I've had 3 or 4 encounters
Of that.
of that, of some kind or another, where it was enough for us to call the board and
Yeah.
say, all right, that's one a week
At
where,
least be aware of it, board, right?
yeah,
Because a
be
lot of
aware.
people, yeah, there's like the reputation for like the Walters team to the public, but there's also like this an internal reputation of like realtor to realtor
Agents.
and
Yeah, just,
agents amongst
yeah.
agents.
And what like we look like to the public. And so yeah, no, we ended up actually having that. But I would say that's probably happened within the past, like just this year. Like I
Yeah.
can't say in 2025 I saw that. It was about 20 probably, yeah, this year that we started realizing and kind of seeing that a little bit more. And we've talked to other agents at other brokerages that have been doing it this for some time as well. And they've kind of expressed the exact same pain points. So
Yeah.
it made me feel good. It wasn't just me and that I wasn't just getting cranky and old. But yeah, so we'll see. It'll be interesting. I hope that it comes with really good training that people are able to start putting out.
Yeah, agreed. Make everyone's lives easier. Megan, it sounds like your systems, your processes, your business is running quite lean and profitable and awesome. I'm curious, like for someone who's so dialed in with the type A personality of like this is how you get things done and you're doing on repeat, like are you looking into like AI agentic agents and different things like that? Is that like on your horizon or on your,
Yeah,
eh,
no, not
no,
really.
not yet. Okay.
No, the only thing I really use AI for, spell check
So you're
sometimes.
using like Grammarly? That's
Yeah, like stuff like that. We're just making sure because sometimes when it comes out in my head, it makes sense. Then I look at
yeah,
like what I wrote. I'm like, there's so many run-on sentences.
yeah,
But no, we really don't use much AI ourselves. Not that I have anything against it, but so for example, like we're building a real estate course right now. And so I think it's funny that I just mentioned that probably that's why it's in my head, young agents.
yeah,
And so then we're building a real estate course about when you start real estate, the things that matter. And I'm not using AI to do it. Like everybody was like, oh, throw it in Claude and it will make it for
yeah,
you in like just a minute. And I'm like,
yeah,
but AI didn't build this. AI wasn't a thing, like, and it didn't build the business. So I only use it for small things because the last thing I want to do is be dependent on it. Then any
yeah.
kind of follow up, things like that, that's all us because I personally just believe in like that kind of human touch.
Right.
So yeah, we don't use as much AI as probably a lot of other people do.
Yeah, interesting. I would have pegged that way differently. But
Yeah.
that's why I ask these hard hitting questions, Megan, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So, Megan, I appreciate we're coming up on time. Is there, I always ask this of all my guests, but you've already shared so much about like your knowledge and what you have going on in your own business. But is there something, I know you mentioned a course, it sounds like you're currently working on it, but is there something that you can share with our audience today, like a checklist, a resource, maybe a book that you use and it changed your life, your community, or your business for the better?
Yeah, so one of the very first books I read was by Krista Mayshore. I think it was like 100 houses a year or something. I mean, it's been a while since I read it. That was the very first book I ever read when I got my license. And then I ended up reading like 100 more. But why I mentioned hers is because that is actually what introduced me to the system that I use, like the
Nice.
CRM, which is called RealVolve.
Okay.
And so her book there kind of taught me like a lot of the fundamentals. And then we ended up really just kind of, I started replicating a lot of what she was doing. And she was really big on her systems.
Hmm.
And I was always very in awe, like, how can she sell X amount of houses, just her, and not be burnt out?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was probably the best thing I could have read when I started.
Very
And
cool.
yeah, still using that same system today. And it was probably the
Awesome.
best thing I did.
Cool. Well, I appreciate that. Megan, if someone is down in Columbia, Missouri and wants to reach out to talk to you about your operation, your course, your business, or to talk to you about real estate just in general, how does someone find you? How can they reach you?
Yeah, so they can find me definitely online. I just tell people just probably Google me real quick, just put Megan Walters and it will all pop up. But yeah, either Google or through our Instagram at Megan Walters. Always, all of it gets right back to my phone. So
Awesome. Well, Megan, such an interesting conversation. I appreciate you coming on and sharing, what you have going on in your business today. Thank you so much for being here, and love to have you back on anytime, especially if you get into AI. I'd be interested to see the type A AI if you do ever decide to get into it.
yeah, no, most definitely. Well, thank you.
All right, thanks again.